Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The Conservative MP, George Eustice, has resigned as Agriculture Minister and warned of humiliation for the UK if Brexit is delayed. In a letter to the Prime Minister, the Leave-supporting MP said he was worried that the EU could now dictate the terms of any extension to the withdrawal process. Our Deputy Political Editor, John Pienaar, is in Westminster for us. How significant is his departure then?
Well, Sophie, George Eustice is a Brexiteer, but he's resigned not because he opposes Theresa May's plan for Brexit, the deal she's trying to thrash out in Brussels and get through the Commons. He supports that plan. He's resigned because he believes she's mishandled the whole process and believes that she's put the future of Brexit itself at risk. Now, the breaking point was Theresa May promising MPs the chance to vote against a no-deal Brexit. Now, that was under pressure of the threat of ministerial resignations, but he saw the threat of no deal as putting useful pressure on Brussels. And he was also upset at MPs given the chance to vote to delay Brexit beyond the leaving date of March the 29th. His worry: a short delay could become a long delay, then a longer delay, and eventually perhaps an indefinite delay. Now, as it is, there will be a chance for MPs to give their verdicts on or before March the 12th. There's no knowing whether Mrs May will finally beat the odds and Brexiteers will finally roll in behind her because they see her plan as the only Brexit available. George Eustice has shown just how frustrated and angry Brexiteers are at the way this has been handled and at being placed in such a painfully uncomfortable position.
John Pienaar, thank you.
One of Theresa May's longest-serving ministers quit over Brexit today, saying delaying Britain's departure from the EU would be the final humiliation for the country. Pro-Leave MP George Eustice, who served as Environment Minister, said although he'd still support Mrs May's deal, he wants to be free to participate in other key votes. From Westminster, here's our political correspondent, Paul Brand.
I just wanted to say it's a real pleasure to have the Prime Minister here.
A pleasure to serve the last Prime Minister, but no longer the current one. Close to Downing Street for many years, tonight George Eustice is the latest to become distant, resigning as Minister over the prospect of a delay to Brexit.
I think it is incredibly dangerous if Parliament ends up ordering the Prime Minister to go out and seek an extension to the Article 50 process and opening us up to the European Union having us effectively over the barrel of a gun, able to literally dictate what the terms of that extension would be.
You voted for the Prime Minister's strategy as recently as last night, so why are you resigning today?
Well, look, I've been wrestling with this for a couple of days, and the trigger for me this week has been the acquiescence of the government to this move by Parliament to effectively seize direct control of the agenda.
The ayes to the right, 502. The noes to the left, 20.
Last night, around 100 Tories rebelled over plans to let MPs delay Brexit if they reject the Prime Minister's deal. And some think today's resignation may not be the only one.
The last thing that any of us now want is an extension to Article 50. Everybody has been working towards March the 29th, and I do hope now that this refocuses Downing Street back onto ensuring that that's exactly when we leave.
Writing to George Eustice tonight, the Prime Minister agreed that the absolute focus should be on leaving on March the 29th. But while he might not be a household name, his resignation speaks to a now famous problem. Every compromise she makes is a compromise too far for some. Paul Brand, ITV News, Westminster.
Here, the Agriculture Minister George Eustice has resigned from the government over Theresa May's promise to allow the Commons a vote on delaying Brexit if her deal is rejected. He said he would vote for the Prime Minister's deal next month, but feared a decision to delay Brexit would hand control to the European Union and be the, quote, final humiliation of this country. Our political editor, Gary Gibbon, joins us now from Westminster. Gary.
Well, this time yesterday, George Eustice was doing what ministers have to do and voting with the whip, voting with the Prime Minister, backing what she'd decided she had to concede, allowing MPs, if they want to delay the date of Brexit. He slept on his decision overnight, not at all comfortable, decided that it handed far too many cards to the EU. Who knows what they'd extract? They might not even let Britain get out of the EU, he worries. Certainly worries about a long extension. He talked in his letter of resignation today about how it could inflict the final humiliation on our country. Here's how he put it in person.
I think if Parliament votes to take no deal off the table, so says it's too scared to walk away without an agreement, and then sends the Prime Minister back to seek an extension, we are in an incredibly weak position. The European Union will be in the position of being able to dictate the terms and the price of that extension.
Well, it's not a major earthquake. George Eustice is not exactly a household name, but what this does speak to is an uncomfortable feeling amongst quite a lot of people who are still in the government about that concession that Theresa May made yesterday. I don't think there are other necessarily resignations about to happen over this, but there is an awful lot of disquiet out there. She knows about that. And what this also does, because he was right there in the lobbies with her last night, you think there's a sort of someone's gone over the top from the trenches with you the day before. You think they're going to be there the next day. It will only add to the edginess in number 10, if that was possible.
Thanks, Gary.